Hello everyone, welcome to Craft Circle. We do these sessions very regularly, and today because it's Holi and Women's Day, we decided to do a midweek session. Otherwise, we usually do this on Saturdays. Shilpa, we have here today with us Shilpa Tulaskar and Priya Ramanathan. Shilpa Tulaskar, of course, you all know, doesn't need any introduction. Tu Tevha Tashi, she's the lead actor in Tu Tevha Tashi, which I'm sure everyone knows, whoever follows ZTV. And she's done many Hindi and Marathi series before this. Dill Mill Gaye,
Priya wrote Dill Mill
Unch
Gaye.
Majha, yes. Unch Majha Jhoka, असे बरेच shows केलेले आहेत शिल्पाने. Priya is a writer and has written many TV shows in her style. And Dill Mill Gaye has been another show that Shilpa and Priya have done before this. We are here to discuss a different kind of talk where we decided we would discuss Hindi and Marathi, and because Tu Tevha Tashi, I'll start with Tu Tevha Tashi karan it's a very different kind of show. It's about a mature love story. For those who have not seen Sanjana, I've seen Tu Tevha Tashi. No, she's a non-Maharashtrian. That's why. It's a different kind of love story. It's about older people in their 30s. 40s, yeah. With the woman has a child from an earlier marriage, and the man is not married till then. And it's a different kind of Marathi show, which was very unexpected, and it's a one of a kind show, so to speak. Many buffs here who watch Tu Tevha Tashi every day without fail. And Priya was brought in later after the show started to write the show. So we are going to start our discussion with Tu Tevha Tashi, but we'll also move on to different things about women in television, acting, writing, and other things about work in showbiz. So let's start. Shilpa, when you were offered Tu Tevha Tashi, when you started having your initial discussions, what were the things that you were thinking of, and what was your initial response to?
It was an immediate yes, because English चालेल की दोन
मराठीत
बोललात तर but I think there is someone. Do you follow Marathi?
She follows Marathi. Yeah.
So I'll keep it a mix of both. हो अजून. So पहिल्यांदा the head of programming at Z त्यांनी फोन केला मला आणि म्हटलं की आम्हाला असा शो करायचा आहे आणि अशा बाईची गोष्ट आहे जिला एक मूल आहे, सिंगल मदर आहे आणि सगळं तिनं एकटीनं केलंय आणि मग ती तिच्या कॉलेजच्या मित्राला भेटते आणि ते दोघं प्रेमात पडतात आणि मग पुढे जे काही होतं तर instant reaction was a yes, because I was dying really to do something so interesting. जे अनेक वर्ष गेली काही वर्ष OTTचा सगळा इन्फ्लक्स आल्यानंतर माझ्यासारख्या ऍक्टर्सना जे थोडे कॉन्झर्वेटिव्ह होते त्यांच्या चॉईस ऑफ रोल्स काय करायचं काय नाही किंवा स्किन शोच्या बाबतीत खूप पटकन मी काही रोल्स घेऊ शकले नाही, नाकारलेत सुरुवातीला. त्यामुळे येत आहे ऐकू अजून चालेल मोठ्याने.
हा आई तू इकडे ये, त्यांना तिथे बसव.
सो हे व्हायचं की काम तुम्हाला छान काहीतरी मिळणं, त्यात झी मराठीवर अशी एक असं एक चॅनल जे अगदी अलीकडे पर्यंत अग्रेसर होतं, नंबर 1 वर होतं आणि तिकडचं जे क्रिएटिव्ह कल्चर आहे हे माझ्या खूप ओळखीचं होतं. दो आय मस्ट कन्फेस की मी फारसे मराठी शोज फारसे नाही पाहिलेच नव्हते. तुला पाहते रे नावाच्या एका शो मध्ये मी केमिओ केला होता, जिथे मी मिळून 3 दिवसाचं शूटिंग केलं होतं. पण चांगलं कॉन्टेंट, चांगल्या स्टोरीज इथे बनतात अक्रॉस ऑल द रिजनल चॅनल्स अँड मराठी एस्पेशली. सो आय जम्प्ड ॲट इट. कारण अ लीड रोल इन युअर 40s आणि that too a love story and that of an independent woman. rather अनामिका खूप माझ्यासारखी आहे, पण त्याच बरोबर म्हणजे हा थॉट प्रोसेस ऑलरेडी झाला होता की इफ यू शोईंग अ वुमन गेटिंग बीटन अप ओनली देन कॅन यू शो दॅट शी इज गोइंग टू रिपेअर. जर त्याला कोणी मारलंच नाही तर ती हे मला चालणार नाही असं म्हणणार. सो आय वॉज व्हेरी हॅपी.
राईट. 40s तू म्हटलंस म्हणून मी आय कम टू दॅट. द नंबर ऑफ opportunities for actresses particularly they tend to decline as you grow older. आणि like you said lead role आणि for somebody in your 40s आणि generally speaking आपण जेव्हा टेलिव्हिजन किंवा सिनेमा बघतो तेव्हा 40s चे रोल पण 20s च्याच मुली करतात, 60 चे रोल फॉर 30s च्या मुली करतात. सो you end up seeing younger and younger women all the time and not enough. So to play someone in your own age, is it different? Have you
It was delightful. कारण माझी चढ अशी आहे की even when I was 16, I never looked 16. So that worked to my advantage because in my early 20s, in fact, I did Shanti when I was 17. And I did a beautiful show called Trikal, which was UTV's second daily soap. Shanti, for your information, was India's first daily soap. म्हणजे Santa Barbara.
मंदिरा.
So तो पहिला हा सोप अपेरा होता आणि माझं डेब्यू प्रोफेशनल टेलिव्हिजनवर तिथून झालं. सो पुन्हा की मला खूप चांगले रोल्स करण्याची संधी मिळाली. मी थिएटरची होते त्यामुळे मी तेव्हा थिएटरही करत होते आणि मी सिरियल्सही करत होते. सिनेमापासून मी लांब राहिले कारण इफ यू रिमेंबर 90s वॉज अ हॉरेंडस टाइम फॉर हिंदी सिनेमा. सो त्या संधी मिळत गेल्या आणि त्या छान होत्या आणि ऑलवेज आय प्लेड समवन स्लाइटली ओल्डर. 40s मध्ये द सॅड कॉन्ट्रास्ट टू women actors is this, that nobody had a problem with a 46-year-old Swapnil playing someone much younger. But the minute I came to do something like that, I was trolled like crazy. So हा बायस आपल्याकडे आहे तो मला जाणवला. आणि इनफॅक्ट पहिल्यांदा मी असं म्हणेन की आय वॉज म्हणजे सुबोध वॉज पेड ऑपोजिट गायत्री हू वॉज सो मच यंगर आणि ते सगळंच चाललं किंवा they are looking their age and so am I.
Correct.
But nobody has a problem with that. And then I'm happy to say that I turned tables around and it was not easy. I remember cribbing and crying with my closest friends and saying, you know, this is happening and that is happening, and I wasn't in the bestest of shape so as to say how people would want the heroine of a show to.
Correct.
But it somehow with wonderfully written scripts, perfectly developed characters, and I would say that yes, nice performances by all the actors took the character to a particular stage.
Barabar. Priya, when you came in a little later after the show was conceptualized, right?
True.
But what was your response to doing a show like that in your initial discussions, and your responses while watching the show as an outsider and then getting to be part of the crew?
Okay, so one of the things that I was brought in to do was up the romance quotient, which is typically what I get called for, whether it's Hindi or...
Okay.
And this is only my second Marathi show. So I was doing another Marathi show, I'm still doing it, called Chal Pudhe. So the channel offered me Tu Tevha Tashi, saying we want a romance writer. So we will come on board and, you know, again 40s actress. And 40s, the show is about a 40s romance, right? So they felt I could bring some amount of maturity and real telling into the whole process. And what happened is, I was not sure I could do justice to it because, you know, it was a set team. When you come from outside, and it was a very well-loved show.
Correct.
I was very scared to ruffle feathers.
Correct.
Or, you know, do something wrong or pick a tonality which was maybe not too sensitive for
Correct.
the existing setup and everything. But the team was great. And I think it's been wonderful to be able to write for actors who are able to actually see your vision.
Correct.
Like, you know, you nuance something and they're able to pick it and then show it on screen.
Correct.
That is a big high. And then that motivates you to experiment a little more, do a little more. So there was a lot of support from the team. The team said that, you know, we want you and we'll make it work somehow.
Correct.
So having someone say that is, you know, then you want to also extend that support and say, okay,
Correct.
let's do our best and see how we can make it work. And it worked. the time shifted. So that was the first thing. I mean, it started off with a little comic discussion that, oh, are you going to make it like an adult show now?
And
It's
she
11 o'clock.
She nearly did,
And,
and
you
I
know,
got trolled for it.
There was, but you know, they were so. Let's table this thought. Like Tu Tevha Tashi, as a concept, was sold as a live-in concept. Okay,
Correct.
which itself is a little bold. It's still bold even in Hindi, very honestly. Okay, it's not like Marathi. Actually, I feel there's so much more flexibility to explore character motivations. In Hindi, we stay more like हमारा character ये नहीं करेगा.
Correct.
यहाँ पे it's like character कुछ भी कर सकता है.
Correct.
But you then see ज़रूरत है तो करेगा.
Correct.
नहीं ज़रूरत है तो नहीं करेगा. That's the way,
Correct.
you know, I think regional is way more honest in its storytelling.
Correct.
Way more honest. So that 11 o'clock slot brought this whole table discussion that आता काय करायचं टाइम्स यू नो
नाही,
आपण
आता
काय
काय
दाखवूया,
करायचं?
काय करू शकतो, काय दाखवू शकतो. आय हॅड अ लिस्ट ऑफ क्वेश्चन्स. हे करू शकतो का, एकत्र राहतील म्हणजे ते करतील का एकत्र राहून. सो आय हॅड दीज काइंड ऑफ क्वेश्चन्स एंड दे वर लाइक, सो आय सेड सी आय नीड टू नो राइट, अनलेस आई नो हाउ विल आई राइट.
Correct.
सो देन आई थिंक एवरीवन वाज लाइक ये कौन सा मतलब
क्या
जस्ट
होने वाला
मेक
है?
श्योर कि हम porn नहीं बना रहे हैं. लेकिन it has to be, you know, see, if you're going to treat a bold concept, at least be honest to
Correct.
it. So that is something that they all got on board.
Correct.
They did get scared when I did that one big scene, which was like, okay, they've crossed over from
Swagrat.
friendship. The time of never coming back to no return
अरे पण
wala zone.
यू विल बी सरप्राइज. मी संध्याकाळची घरी येते तेव्हा शो चालू असतो, आई बघत असते, त्यामुळे असं बॅकग्राऊंड मध्ये मी आय डोंट फॉलो इट, पण आय नो द बेअर मुवमेंट ना. अरे ह्यांचं झालं की नाही सुरू किती वेळ चाललंय?
Because in television, even Patya and Anamika, show me your hand. Even with this, there will be a Maha episode. So here we were like, you know, you're going all the way, and my dupatta was still here. But yes, it did.
त्यामुळे मला आठवत नाही, अरे ह्यांचं झालंय की नाही, ह्यांचं अफेअर चालू आहे की नाही.
Affair चालू आहे, बाकीचे
No,
काय
because
discussion.
actually one of the things they told me is that they have lived in together before. I said, okay, very good. I asked, have they consummated the relationship? So they are like, no.
नाही
I said,
असं
तो लिव इन कैसे हुआ? So they said, नहीं लिव इन था, वो लोग अलग कमरे में रहते थे भाड़े में.
In the same house.
That is not live in.
लोक
That is like roommates, huh? That is like roommates. Live in बोल रहे हो तो. But
It was beautifully shot, beautifully written, and I think we did well on the
and I
performance.
must say that, you know, this is something I've told her many times, that again, when you write a show in Hindi, this is of course the amount is bigger, but I feel like actors, because I think maybe because they don't come from theatre backgrounds, they're very body aware.
Stilted, बरोबर.
You know, even they hug like only their shoulders touch.
Correct, correct,
ऐसे करके
correct.
दूर से like remote control
Correct.
body होता है. यहाँ पे there's so much comfort, and you know, it's nobody's taking advantage of anyone.
Correct.
Nobody's uncomfortable, and yet there is so much
Correct.
like correct familiarity.
I
Like
think
even
it's also because you must be knowing Swapnil also for many years. कारण ते थरवळांच्या वर्कशॉपला स्वप्नील
नाही,
पण
नव्हता,
होता.
नव्हता.
ते दुसऱ्या
स्वप्नील
बॅचला होता ना, छोट्या बॅचला.
नाही.
मयुरेश आणि
मयुरेश होता, स्वप्नील
स्वप्नील
नव्हता.
नव्हता.
So
कुठच्या तरी
नाही,
वर्षात
मी तो असेल, but I
अच्छा.
have done a show on Z in 1999. जिथे स्वप्नील 1 वर्षानंतर जॉईन झाला होता, माझा मुलगा पण होता.
Oh my
So I had
God.
taken on that show. Yeah, I had taken on the show. We had shot for a year, and then Z said कि okay, अब हमको एक leap लेना चाहिए.
हाँ.
And then that leap came in, brought Swapnil Joshi in, and I was shocked. And I was, you know, that was not a time, and I still wouldn't just walk out on a show because of that. Another show that I did for Star, I mean, diverting from the topic a little, was where the same game got played with me at some point, where Amruta Subhash came as my daughter. So, you know, we aren't really at liberty to ask, okay, who's going to be playing this?
Correct,
We would
correct.
ask, but lots of times the lead actors are confirmed, and Amruta was playing the lead there, but
Correct.
something went wrong with the lead heroine, and they brought in Amruta again, and she was saying Amruta is a couple of years older than me again. But if you look at त्याचबरोबर स्वप्नील बरोबर I'd like to share something की I met him 22 years later. We were friends on that show, but that was it. And I am basically a slightly shy person. I can't even hug a girl very easily, you know. Physical proximity is very limited that way. But in the beginning, there was a lot of resistance in my head, and I am not just an actress good enough to hide it, but also as a person you don't want to make your co-actor
Correct,
very
awkward.
this. But by the time this scene came up, he and I had really gelled and we became friends in the true sense of the word. So that made a big difference. So film set, especially when you're shooting all these things, is a very funny place to be in. Karan, you know, there are about 80 people around you, and he and I could be this close, and lots of things are happening around. Yeah, scene sati we were actually on the bed, and there was a beautiful song and moments, we call them. Those were really stolen, and they are, you know, isolated and shot. It's very technical. It's not so much fun really. And what Priya said also, that, you know, people just come like this, and in Marathi that happens a lot more than Hindi, because Hindi a lot of times I've seen the leads having an affair, like, by the way chal raha hai kuch. Here so there was no scope of that also, but because we are friends, and like she said, there's no discomfort.
Correct,
because
yeah.
you know that there's nobody sleazy around
Correct,
you.
correct.
That can really put you off.
Correct.
And te apल्याला बोट लागलं की कळतं.
बरोबर आहे तेच.
Also, Swapnil is a pro at these romantic
yeah.
things. So more than our director, it is he who takes charge. नाही असं नको कर, नको करू, इकडे ये, and मग असं बघ आणि हे कर. So all these instructions have to be, you know, followed, and the whole thing comes together.
Correct, correct.
So I remember one instance where outside the Vada we are just very close, and actually that's a street, the Angad, where the car is parked and all of that. So, you know, we are again nearly nose to nose. So when you're so close, generally there's something called an OS shot, that is over the shoulder kind of shot. So the camera is behind my shoulder and you see Swapnil through my shoulder. So माझं हे एवढं फक्त दिसतं त्याच्यात. आणि तसंच vice versa shot घेतला जातो, so as to for the audience to be able to see me up really close and him too. तर असा शॉट जेव्हा लागतो तेव्हा लाइटिंग जे असतं की नाही, तर थर्मोकॉलनी लाईट बाउन्स केला जातो. दोज थिंग्स आर सो क्लोज, म्हणजे माझ्या चेहऱ्याला लाईट मिळायला हवा म्हणून, राईट? So if he and I are here, the guy who's there is giving his thermocol from here. So he's hiding here. It's not in your vision. So Swapnil once said ki, you know, आई ना, असं वाटतंय की आपल्या तिघांचं अफेअर was so close. And the funniest moment was, again going back to the whole Sharir Pradarshan and these hot scenes. Recently I did a web series, a part in a web series which had skin show, and with my 1000 terms and conditions, and the director being a woman director, and she's a fantastic woman who I worked with before, Nilima Bajpai from Shakuntala. So again a story between an older woman आणि एक younger मुलगा, आणि त्याच्यात एक बेड सीन होता जो मी लाईफ मध्ये फर्स्ट टाइम केला. त्या वेळेला मी त्या सीनच्या वेळेला सगळ्यांना त्यांना म्हटलं होतं की हे लाईट दादा, कारण हल्ली फोन्स आहेत आणि कॅम्स आहेत, तर खूप भीती वाटते मला की ते रॉंगली कुठे. कारण याच आधी स्वप्नील इन्स्टेड ऑफ हेल्पिंग मी हॅज टोल्ड मी दॅट, तुला माहितीये का, सई आणि माझे लव्ह सीन्स जे आहेत, यु नो, रिअली इंटेन्स इंटिमेट सीन्स, they porn sites were. So my whole fear was my 20-year-old finding his mom on a porn site somewhere, just because you've done this one thing. I mean, hilarious stuff which can turn out to be disastrous happens. So when this whole conversation, I had driven out all the guys, only my staff was there who was shying away saying "Kai kya kar rahi hai?" and the director and the DOP, so as to have some privacy and dignity for myself and to do away with the fear. When that conversation between Swapnil and me happened, this guy who was down giving me thermocol, Swapnil said, "ऐक ना, असं वाटतं की आपलं आणि याचं अफेअर तिघांचं चालू आहे." That guy said, "मैम पहचाना, मैं मड आइलैंड में आया था." I wanted to die at that moment. I was hoping I not
continuity चल रही है तुम्हारी लाइफ में.
अच्छा, ये तो I could visualize him seeing me there with another younger child. So all of these things happen to an actor's life, in an actor's life, till in between you'll, and my daughter, listen, can I go to my friend's house today? So all this happens. It's not as fun, and it's super fun if you really start to enjoy it.
Correct. So you spoke about Boulder thing, but what you commented earlier, कि I think कि Boulder त्या सिरीजचं हे एक होतं की त्या बाईने सगळं स्वतःहून उभं केलं. आणि आय थिंक दॅट वॉज
the whole part of it actually.
की टेक्निकली शी डझंट नीड अ मॅन ॲट ऑल इन हर लाईफ. Technically,
but you can still want a man. So I think
of
when you
course.
explore that difference,
so that is
which
just
is the
an
interesting
emotional
part.
need,
Right.
which is a very rare
Absolutely.
concept for Indian
Absolutely.
And I would say a physical one also.
हा
तेही acknowledge केलं आम्ही, which was the beauty of
करेक्ट
it.
कारण तुला कमाईसाठी पण नकोय, तू घरासाठी पण नकोय, मुलांसाठी पण नकोय. बेसिकली युअर नीड इज प्युअरली इमोशनल अँड पर्सनल की
Yes.
only as an emotional being she needs a man and she needs companionship.
A partner.
Correct. So when you think of that, I think that was a more bolder concept where for me ki asa you don't see that at all. So when you went through the show, what were the observations you had while creating?
So actually it's interesting you should say this, because one of the primary things when you talk of a love story, I mean when you write young people love story, oftentimes the man is richer, stronger, bigger, everything, right? So the women just follow him, and I think our culture encourages women to not have opinions so that they can just follow along with the man. Here is a woman who's, like you said, doesn't need the man, but then when you're in a relationship, that man is also feeling a little emasculated no matter how much he loves her, because he's not needed. And our culture has told men that when you're not needed, you're not respected. Unfortunately, men grow up with this complex that, oh, if she doesn't need me, she doesn't like me, she doesn't respect me. I'm dispensable in her head. Actually, why would you dispense with a man you love, right?
Correct.
Like, you love him. But men think if she उसको गरज नहीं है ना तो वो मुझे छोड़ देगी. तो उस insecurity की वजह से they start acting up. So it was very interesting to explore those aspects, that now this is not a need-based relationship. This is a choice-based relationship.
Correct.
But even when you choose, you can still have fears, you can still have insecurities, you can still second guess whether it's the right choice you made. Like you can, to hurt, the first thing a man can tell a woman that, oh, you know, you have the money, so you don't need me, so I'm not good enough for you.
Correct.
And the woman, unfortunately, even at this level, like us all, maybe, I don't know, independent women at a certain level also, will start taking one step back. Because you feel, अरे यार, उसको बुरा लग जाएगा, like, क्या सोचेगा ना मेरे बारे में? Let's be less successful, let's be less
Correct,
money.
yeah.
So I was allowed to play up all these complexes, which are actually very cerebral, very, very nuanced.
Correct.
But we were able to tell it because the characters had been established.
Correct.
And anything they did or said had traction. People
Correct.
were listening, people were like rooting. There was a Anamika camp, there was a Saurav camp, and each of them felt, "Arey yaar, wo to galat hai." So I feel the moment you feel both are right and both are wrong, you know, you can tell a story in a more honest way.
Correct.
You don't have to just do cliches and then go along with it.
Correct.
So that was a great, it was personally very, very exciting for me to do that.
In other love stories you have played, anything interesting about those kind of love stories? म्हणजे Dill Mill Gaye, for example, किंवा दुसऱ्या कुठल्या roles
Dill Mill
मध्ये?
Gaye. Her chemistry with Monish Bahl was crackling.
Yes, now I know which show you are talking about.
I'm really sure chemistry with most men is very cracky to everybody else but me. So, like Priya said, you know, the submissive woman everybody likes, and an actor brings a part of himself or herself to every character that you are playing.
Correct.
So it's very, while saying that, it's very unhealthy to bring yourself in the picture and then perform. You would unknowingly, a part of you will, your soul goes into that, and that I do not mean by sheer effort की तुम्ही खूप त्याच्यावर कष्ट घेतले म्हणून तुमच्यातलं काहीतरी त्याच्यात आलं, राईट? सो दिल मिल गयेच्या वेळेला इट वॉज सच अ, म्हणजे मी टेलिव्हिजन खूप केल्यामुळे असेल कदाचित, असे टिपिकल पूर्ण लव्ह स्टोरी बेस्ड स्टोरीज माझ्या वाट्याला कमी आल्या.
बरोबर.
So त्यातली एक जर if I have to say it is Dill Mill Gaye, again it was a mature love story, you know, and Monish was like cactus in it, where he is all like this, you know, he will come only so much close, he will touch you like this, given all of these, and he's like that as a person, and that made me withdraw all the more, you know, I need somebody to take charge when it comes to these kind of things. But even there, see, she is the mother of his child.
Correct.
Okay, and who he has adopted. Again, this whole submissive woman came into the picture, and I play those very well, which is a complete. I act very well in those things. I'm far from it. I remember once my gynaec called me a docile woman in front of my husband, and he really cracked up. So that speaks a lot, isn't it? But again, it was beautifully written. So, though I'd like to say yes, part of the credit goes to the actors, but it is the writer and the director who's the parallel hero, I'd say, because if an actor just comes and says the lines written by the writer also, a lot of times your character is a hit.
Correct.
So मी म्हणेन की दिल मिल गए वाली लव स्टोरी मला आवडली होती. Z had this whole thing called Z Rishte love stories,
yes.
which were 50-minute episodes. So there was another love story which I had done with Saurabh Shukla. It was written by Saurabh, directed by Hansal Mehta.
Achha.
I don't know why these people have vanished from my life. So, which was the story of a fat man falling in love with this girl,
Okay.
and he is her best friend.
Okay.
And he is not able to tell her, and she comes and cries on his shoulders वगैरे वगैरे. ती एक खूप सुंदर गोष्ट होती आणि I really enjoyed that a lot. So as to say, पण बाकी हे असे strong women वगैरे वाले strong mothers. I was lucky to play Jizawu in Veer Shivaji, which was so. Those roles there have been many. Love stories there haven't been so many.
Okay. While creating love stories other than Dill Mill Gaye, what were the limitations or the things that you have faced?
See, the thing is, everyone wants a hatke love story,
हाँ.
and they
पण
want the
सगळ्यात
cliches to
जास्त
play
अशाच
out.
असतात.
Exactly.
बरोबर. सगळ्यात
तो
अशाच
ये जो
असतात.
होता है ना कि अलग चाहिए, लेकिन वो सब होना चाहिए.
Correct.
Becomes hard, but actually now I think it's like every one of us in this room has had at least one love story, and every one of them is different. And yet at a core level, there's some similarity.
Correct.
So I think if we understand that there is that similarity and that difference, I think it flows. I think now, okay, I'm also a student of Spiral Bound. That is something I want to showcase this because I now understand my craft a little differently. I think earlier we would just follow formula. You know, किसी ने बोला तो कर दो types. But now I feel there is this aspect of character motivation. So you know, you need to understand that the character have a conversation, that the character do what he or she is meant to do, and the story unfolds on its own. So I think I'm really grateful that, you know, Zee Marathi has given me that freedom. Marathi television has given me that freedom where I feel you're allowed to write a story in its true, honest form. The outcome of the show, like TRPs, you know, time spent, they don't determine the fate of the show.
Correct.
Unfortunately, in Hindi, there's a lot of panic,
Of course.
a little more money there. So, you know, every Friday, every Thursday, stories get rewritten.
I would imagine that there's a less amount of experimentation there also.
No, the moment you experiment, but see, I feel when you experiment, like supposing somebody says, okay, I want to live in. I'm just giving you an example. If a boy and a girl in Hindi decide that I want to live in with the girl, but the research will tell them, no, Heartland India doesn't like it. तो फ्राइडे अगले थर्सडे तक वो उसको प्रपोज कर देगा और अगले थर्सडे तक वो शादी कर लेंगे. So they don't allow a story to have its own journey. You know, it's determined by reactions, it's determined by TRPs. In Marathi, we would be like my team, even in TCP, came from a Hindi background. You know? So when our TRPs didn't skyrocket like we had hoped it would, we would go like thar to the channel saying, oh my God, abhi kya? We said, nahi, we like the story, continue. That freedom of telling a story, it's joyful. Like, you know, then you can write what you want to write and you truly believe is right for the show.
So I just interrupt. The fear here is because the money is involved. पैसे गुंतलेले असतात त्याच्यात revenue. त्यामुळे इतकं pressure येतं.
So it's tough. That is one big tough thing. And also sometimes, unfortunately, like I have done shows which have ensemble casts. Okay, like 4 people, 2 couples. We are thinking these 2 are the hero heroine, but these 2 are liked by the audience. So then रातों रात हमको पलटी मार के ना इनको हीरो हीरोइन बनाना पड़ता है. And we've not conceived journeys for them. We've not conceived nuanced, like गाढ़ा love story.
Sanjeevani was like that, no?
I have not.
डॉक्टर वाला एक सीरीज था त्याच्यामध्ये अशी
Sanjeevani was part 1 of Dill Mill Gaye. The whole
yes.
But Dill Mill Gaye, we started off hoping to make Grey's Anatomy with all that angsty love story. We ended up making Scrubs, like, you know, like full comedy, crazy love stories, madcap nonsense.
Sanjeevani, I remember it started with 4 this thing, and then suddenly one couple became like त्यांची story चालू आहे. बाकीचे दोन कोण बघतच नाहीये असं.
Oh,
The
okay.
first episode of Sanjeevani.
Is it?
म्हणजे there is an episode which is called the pilot episode, which is sent to the channel for
Correct.
approval, and
Okay.
then the rest follows.
Okay. Because I remember with Sanjeevani this अरे आता हेच दोघं दिसतात बाकीची दोघं गेली कुठे म्हणजे ते मग एक त्यातला विलन होतो आणि देन असं काहीतरी नेगेटिव्ह रोल
थोड़ा formulaic है वो, but it's all part of the job. I think one thing personally, again, I think like you say in your heroines, even personally the learning is you are not your job.
करेक्ट
You know, if you take it so personally and you
Correct.
treat every failure as your failure,
करेक्ट
then it's very disheartening.
So that is where I want to ask the next question ki over the years म्हणजे आता you worked for 32 years.
Wow.
You worked for 25 years.
20.
Over these years, have your notions of what a love story should be, have they changed? Of course they have changed because you must have changed as a person. But also television, your work, what you bring to the table, how has it changed and how has it shaped you? And how has television shaped you?
You
You
go
wanna
first.
answer that? Okay, so I'll tell you personally. Okay, I believed in wild love stories. I believed in wind in the hair, backseat bike
So
driving.
I want to interrupt there. I remember Priya and I had been to Pune, Ajikade. And we had been on a girls trip. All these UTV girls were together, 5-6 of us. And Priya and Sanjana will like that reference because Priya had dissected कुछ कुछ होता है. हाँ पूरा 3 घंटा पुणे जाए तक के.
And you can't even jump out of the car.
And कुछ कुछ होता है. मतलब I saw it without thinking, very unthinkingly, and I liked it very much without understanding any of its gender politics, any of its
Anything. I'm just
dynamics.
looking at
It
Shadow.
was actually a very rubbish
Tina.
film.
No, but I had issues with it even back in the day.
Correct. No, that's exactly what I'm trying to say. And Priya had sat and dissected that whole film, and by the time she finished, I'm like, she kept.
Film बनाया.
No, and I have to add, so as a tribute to this stupidity, we watched Kuch Kuch Hota Hai together in Pune.
No.
And
Only
now
women
all
can
of
do
us were
this.
giving it gali. Like together all of us gave it gali. So that was a fun thing. Okay, so like I'm saying, I was a girl in the heart. I still am on so many levels, but wind in the hair, backseat driving. कि कोई मुझे ना हमारी बॉम्बे में तो ground floor flat I live in, and it's grilled and I live with my parents, so no scope of romance actually. But I hope कि कोई से window खटखटाएगा and window से लान कि हम लोग खंडाला जाएंगे चाय पीने के लिए.
इसी से होती है problem life में.
This was my notion of romance. And today I'm going to be 50 end of the year. If somebody wakes me up from my sleep for anything, I will bludgeon him. So that notion of love has shifted.
Changed. Correct.
Okay, I will sleep. He lets me sleep. Great. I will like worship him. So notions of love have definitely changed.
Correct.
But one thing I feel hasn't changed even then and now. I think I really strongly believe respect trumps love.
Correct.
You know, if you can't respect a person, you can say I love you, and then if you treat me badly in public,
Correct. Yeah.
it's full choke.
Yeah. Correct.
So I think that has not changed. So I think in that sense I was a feminist back in the day. This kind of feminist, not
Correct.
bra burning, I hate a man feminism.
We
But
love
respect, yeah. My favorite man is sitting there. But that is, I think, non-negotiable.
Correct.
इसके बाद फिर ससुराल में रहना है, बिंदी पहनना है, मंगलसूत्र पहनना है. These are all trappings of how much you navigate and how much you give and how much you want to take.
Correct.
Those can shift. And I really feel sometimes we make a big deal for supposed feminism over nothing.
Correct.
Like true feminism is not about arguing about everything. You know, but if you don't stand up for what is right and then fight for a Mangalsutra and Bindi and Sindoor, I feel it's a very
doesn't work.
twisted concept of feminism.
Correct.
So, my women usually are assertive, they are strong because, like she said, you bring some of yourself to the
Correct.
table.
Correct.
But at the same time, to remember now again character honesty.
Correct.
Like if you have to write the story of a wife, like a woman who's beaten by her husband,
Correct.
you have to be honest with that. You can't suddenly make her a feminist in the next
Correct.
episode.
बरोबर.
You will kill the narrative.
बरोबर.
You know, हम सीता की स्टोरी लिखते तो उसको द्रौपदी नहीं बना सकते.
Correct.
You know, you have to remember कि कौन है तुम्हारी character, and then you build on it.
Correct.
And I think you also, one more thing which personally I have understood is, you know, you have to put your foot in the door to make a point. You know, if you start doing this feminism की बातें बाहर से ही ना, लोग दरवाजा ही बंद कर देते हैं. Unfortunately, rural India doesn't want to know about us entitled women who gone to convent-educated schools and have MBAs and MAs and who are making their own money. हमसे उनको ना ज्ञान नहीं सुनना है.
Correct.
Their lives are so much harder. They do so much more with their day.
Correct.
You know, so if we have to connect with them, we have to look as vulnerable. We have to say that, okay, I have all of this, but I still cry myself to sleep.
Correct.
I still want these 4 things which I'm not going to get no matter what.
Correct.
When I make that connect with the woman,
Very-
then
very-
I'm able to make a point and I'm going to able to tell her that stand up for yourself.
Correct.
You know, don't let your husband treat you like trash.
Correct.
So she has to like me for me to be able to say that to her.
Correct.
So you know, those are some things we have to always remember that you can't make a story for yourself. जिसके लिए बना रहे हो, be honest with that narrative. So that is something which is again not changed much.
Correct. Shilpa, what about
Yeah,
you?
even I like people, and the problem is that I still like people knocking on my window, unlike Priya. And I get up from my sleep and I do anything for love, and I can still read. But the only difference is that I really still believe in true love, and I
Okay.
believe in eternal love, and that has been smashed on my face so many of the times. Thankfully, I have a fairly good relationship and have had a fairly great marriage. In the conventional and technical terms. But yes, like she said, I now when I look back, and I've been married for 22 years, that respect for the other person as your partner. I mean, my parents brought me up to be a successful, happy, kind human being,
Correct.
not to be a successful, kind and happy girl.
Correct.
That was a big difference. And so somewhere, without giving it so much thought, I landed up with a partner, and you know, we made each other shit our own, but and the goods, and of course the children come in. But yes, in the very pure sense of the thing, I still believe in Valentine's Day and all the
Acha,
mush
okay.
and yeah, very much. So you know, like just now when I was coming in, there was a group of guys having their holy fun there, and I said, just wait here till. Not because I can't fight them myself. I don't want the tamasha happening with people coming out with phones, shooting me and posting it on social media, and Ro has a shop here.
Correct.
You know, also that we had the session at 6. But he said, I kept waiting in the car. I said, should I go? Yeah, go now. You know? So whereas, you know, this paradox of your life, this contrast is what it is.
Correct. Correct.
Having said that, it's wonderful. I hate the thought of being equal with a man. No, I'm not. I'm much more beautiful than a man can be. I'm much more sensitive most of the times. I've met some wonderfully sensitive men, and I love it. I brought my son up to be a man like that. I would
Correct.
like to believe that. And when I see him with his girlfriend, I see a lot of that showing up without him seeing it. But all the mushy stuff, all the pink, beautiful,
You like all that?
I love all. Hopelessly do.
So then again, I must add, it's not like I've become bitter or anything. It's just that I
No,
like my
this is
sleep.
not bitter. This is
I like my sleep, so that is one thing which is okay. But I would still like the window knocking and all is all good. But I feel, like she said, you know, this is the example I always give. Like, I can travel at 3 in the night by myself.
Correct.
But I want my man to think I can't and he should pick me up from the airport.
Yeah.
You know, that for me is the true epitome of what a relationship will be. Like, I can look after myself.
Everything we can do.
He thinking, "Arey nahi, मैं कर लेता हूँ तेरे लिए," and I'm like okay with it.
Correct.
So I don't insist on paying half the bill when I go out with
I never insist.
cousins and brothers.
And I'll pay the whole bill some other time.
नाही मी
I just
never
say-
नाही करणार.
मला चालेल.
For my company.
नाही आला पुढच्या आला तर काय करणार? So to take care of this.
The notion that this is equality is
It's
really
silly.
quite foolish.
Yeah. Correct.
Like you pay no problem. Open the doors, great. I
love
grin at
it.
people who open doors for me. Like car doors, bolo, ye darwaza bolo. People in India need. There should be a subject in school
ते तर
about
नाही,
door
नाही,
etiquette.
हा, बरोबर.
ते दार उघडून असं सोडून देतात आणि झाड तोंडात येतं, तोंडावर येतं.
No, nose is getting smashed.
माझं पण झालं किती वेळा. So I'm saying, you know,
It is.
what is equality? I mean, being able to be vulnerable is a luxury, I feel.
Yeah.
So if
that's
someone
true.
allows
Yeah.
you that luxury, then take it. Yeah.
Got it. But that vulnerability also comes with control, isn't it? In many cases.
Not always, yeah.
In many cases. So
It's
I think it
how
comes
much
with
you allow.
honesty.
Here, huh?
It comes with honesty and comfort.
No,
Like-
she's saying the other way around, Pri.
The fact that you're vulnerable becomes a tool of control for you.
For
also.
the opposite
So
person.
you're dependent for your
See, but I think the moment you think like that, then that relationship has not reached a level of
Where it should.
yeah, where it should be. Because if you feel the man, you are vulnerable and he might use it against you.
नहीं पण मी सेल्फचा म्हणतच नाहीये. The woman doesn't feel she's being controlled. You see, as an outsider, you see that.
No, but here again, okay, you know, I mean, there was this, somewhere I read that Shabana Azmi and Javed Akhtar had gone to some friend's house and he was getting ready for a recital and she was ironing his kurta. And the guest said, "Arey yaar, kitna patriarchal hai tumhara pati." She was like, "But why?" मतलब मेरी साड़ी अगर मेरा पति इस्त्री करेगा तो वो बिम्ब हो जाएगा क्या? मतलब she got dressed first. She ironed his. It's really that simple. I don't think everything is to be seen with this lens of is it right, is it correct, is it too much, is it less. I think, but unfortunately, relationships have in general become like that. Boy girl तो छोड़ ही दो, even mother father, brother sister, friendship, everything we're measuring. So the moment we measure in a relationship, it's a red flag actually. I mean, we talk of unconditional love, we write poetry about it, but we actually measure a lot now.
Now म्हणजे नेहमीच.
नाही, आता जास्तच झालं मला
Somewhere
वाटतं.
where people feel.
And these Insta stories about are you in a toxic relationship? Are you with somebody who takes advantage of you? म्हणजे काय?
3 steps to follow.
Five
And
things.
even more funny is that, you know, I want to make a show on this. I love you, my hubby. I love you so much. And can't you just go into his ear and tell him that in your bedroom?
त्याच्याकरता Facebook post
Facebook post.
10 points you are dating a narcissist. म्हणजे I'm saying, oh, she's narcissist.
I feel guilty. I've read these kind
म्हणजे काय?
all through the whole post.
Everybody you see through this lens. तर आता जास्तच झालंय ते. पूर्वी असं नव्हतं ना. We didn't know who was a narcissist. Yeah, we just went along.
Instagram told us.
अरे मग फटके बसल्यानंतर शिकण्यापेक्षा
फटके बसले तर
शिकलेलं
चालतं
बरं.
का? Better to have loved and lost.
फटके बसत नव्हते होते.
Better to have loved and lost than not to have
I've
loved
loved
at
it
all.
all.
ये जो cold heartedness की दरवाजा बंद करो तो फिर अच्छा भी नहीं आएगा ना अंदर. It's okay, yeah. Fall, get up, walk again, fall in love again.
Correct.
So the
Risky, that's
foot
worth
in
it.
the, foot in the door is a sore one.
मतलब you should take a risk, yeah.
Correct.
I mean, otherwise, where is the life? I think. इतना तुम correctly कहाँ जाओगे ऐसे correct बन के? अकेले रह जाओगे, I feel.
Correct.
Like really. I mean, whether it's a love story or even like parental love. Like sometimes I feel, you know, oh, sometimes I really do feel as a mother, I feel, oh, you know, I will tell that, I will set the boundaries. काय होत नाही पण
कोणी ऐकत नाही.
म्हणजे 2 दिवसानंतर आपल्यालाच वाईट वाटतं ते नाही ग त्याला जवळ झोपायचं तर घेऊया त्याला जवळ झोपायचं म्हणजे हो व्हॉट इज को स्लीपिंग इज अनहेल्दी म्हणतात सगळी लोक बकवास असतं ते सगळं.
At 19 and 20, you will be the one jumping the boundaries. My kids call me a helicopter mom because they have not known. I have stalked him on Facebook, on Instagram, on everything with fake accounts. Found out only with the sheer working mother's guilt. Ki, oh, he
I'm
may
going to
not
ask you to
share
pause
it.
some of this information because
No, I'm going to personally tell him. It's only out of fear that you know somewhere you are inadequate. So mothers always feel like that. I think I'll tell you
no,
what.
so love is love. I feel what I'm saying is
Look at
so
me
love
talking.
stories की बात so हम लोग एक दूसरे से बात कर रहे हैं. She did a show in Star Plus. I forget the name of the show where she had this son and her son loved a girl who had a very toxic dad.
जाना ना दिल से
Yes.
दूर.
So इसमें ना मदर और सन का थीम सॉन्ग था एक प्यार का नगमा है मौजों की रवानी है जिंदगी और कुछ नहीं तेरी मेरी कहानी. And really after becoming a mother realized all the love story songs. I mean you take out the romance and you take out the sex. They apply to your child also, right?
Correct.
So then again the same parameters of boundary, self-respect. Actually, it's a love pyramid. You know, I'm sure romantic love is at the pinnacle of that pyramid, but love in its true grammar follows all of this math. So anywhere you start measuring, saying, oh ye nahi, wo nahi, sahi galat, then
It's going to be
there is something is off there.
Yeah. My son measures how many times he gets me water. आता अभी लेके आया था ना.
So it's okay.
I know teenagers. Okay.
Almost teenagers. He's grinning. My almost teenager.
So guilt of working mom वरती.
Oh रे बाप. Thought, are we really going to go down that road?
Of course, we're going to talk about everything.
Women's Day. So those subjects can also be discussed.
Can I have a glass of water?
Yes, of course.
I'll get
What?
one. Rani, continue.
So